KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You know, once upon a time, not so very long ago, it used to be the case that Oklahoma would play their bowl game and we could all kick back and chill for a couple months. And there was not a whole lot happening in the month of January. Now it can be argued, Grayson Singleton, that January is the busiest month on the college football calendar.
Why do I feel like this is – I feel like you two, just following your coverage of it on OU Insider, I feel like you're having more fun with this than high school recruiting.
Oh, man, I'm having a lot of fun.
I would say this is
I'm
fun.
exhausted, but I'm having a lot of fun.
I've been waiting for you to do the Adam Schefter where you have to leave the set and go take a phone call or something. I've been waiting for it because during the breaks, you're on the phone.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for you to be like, oh, got a dip, and like, oh, okay.
And I won't be on air tomorrow or Friday because I'm taking a couple vacation days to work. Go down to the All-American Bowl in San Antonio. That's how it is. Like, love this job. Absolutely love it. And I've grown a deeper appreciation for it over the years because, man, like getting to cover college football is truly a dream gig, not only for me, but for so many people. But I tell you, there is that side of it that wears you out from time to time, and it's weeks like this where been in the foxhole Monday through Wednesday and then got to take off from one job so you can go do the other one. Full tilt Thursday and Friday.
Do you ever take vacation to actually vacation?
A couple days a year, generally.
Okay.
I think it'll be Memorial Day this year.
All right.
Go hang with my family for a couple days over Memorial Day. Usually try to take a couple vacation days on that weekend. Make a lengthy weekend of it. But, yeah, boy, it's a grind right now. It's a grind keeping up with everything. I did not go to bed till almost 3 a.m. last night.
Really?
I guess it was a typical night for me in college, but
I was about to
I'm
say,
not in college anymore.
Your
rhythms shift once you get out of college, man. There were so many things I did in high school and college that and just like the lifestyle that I was living in terms of circadian rhythm and sleep-wake cycle. I'm just like, I don't know how I got away with that.
It took me midway through my sophomore year to figure out I can't go to bed at 3:30 a.m. every single morning.
Lots of portal news already today for Oklahoma. The Sooners lost 3 scholarship players to the transfer market. Jaden Hardy hit the portal, the sophomore safety from Louisville, Texas. Oklahoma lost redshirt freshman wide receiver Zion Reagans, who made several starts for the Sooners as a true freshman in 2024, but quite clearly was not ready physically. He was pressed into action because every other wide receiver on the roster was hurt pretty much, and he was one of the few that stayed healthy all season. But he was 5'8", 155 pounds. That wasn't going to hold up in the SEC. Wasn't really a fit with Ben Arbuckle's offense. He only played in 2 games in 2025, did not catch a pass. So Zion Reagans is out the door, and as such, Oklahoma's entire 2024 class at wide receiver has now cleared the arena. Ivan Carrion, out. Zion Kearney, out. KJ Daniels, out. Zion Reagans, out. So those were 2 of the 3. The third, Grayson, was directly connected to Oklahoma's lone portal acquisition of the day so far. Feels kind of weird to say that, but that's what kind of week it has been for Oklahoma. Multiple portal commitments on Monday, multiple portal commitments on Tuesday. Only one so far here on Wednesday, but boy, it's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
We know how much Brent Venables loves his Crackerbackers, man.
You know,
and the Sooners got themselves a premium cracker in Cole
you know,
Sullivan.
I almost went to the store before our show today and brought a box of premium. It crossed my mind to do so.
This dude can play, man.
He's good. He's real good.
What happened in the immediate aftermath of Cole Sullivan's commitment to Oklahoma is that Samuel Masigo announced he was getting in the portal with his 1 year of eligibility left, which you understand. He wants to go somewhere he can start. That's probably not happening at Oklahoma in 2026 with the likelihood that Kip Lewis returns, the possibility that Owen Heineke returns, and now the addition of Cole Sullivan as well. So Omasigo just kind of a casualty of Newton's third law, if you will. But Cole Sullivan entering the equation, highly significant for Oklahoma because he is an all-around stud at the linebacker position. The thing that jumps out to me is, yes, like any good linebacker, he can get downhill, fill lanes, and take care of run fits responsibly. He can rush the quarterback. He can get sideline to sideline. But he's really good in pass coverage as well.
You took mine.
To the tune of 3 interceptions in 2025. How many linebackers do you think picked off 3 passes this season? I would have to imagine that's a scant number across college football.
That's your biggest upgrade. Yeah, he can do a lot of the things that you think of for linebackers, come up in the run, blitz, rush the quarterback, all that. Oklahoma's biggest upgrade with the Cole Sullivan addition is in pass coverage. And, yeah, Kip Lewis has had his moments with the pick sixes and whatnot. But outside of really those, have we really had impactful plays in the passing game from linebackers? And so I do think that's going to be where your biggest upgrade is going to be with Cole Sullivan. As it pertains, you brought up Samuel Masigo. And I had hinted toward this thought for a while now, if you've kind of caught, I know you've kind of caught on to it, but it always felt like he was just kind of a tweener in this defense. Like, is he really an inside backer? Should he really be a cheetah? And just whenever I watched him, it just always felt like a funny fit with the defense and with the scheme. So this was one, I know some people were surprised by this. When it was announced that he left, I was like, oh, I've been waiting on this one. Just because the fit had kind of just run its course with Sammy and the rest of the defense.
And he showed flashes during his 3 years in Norman. Plenty of flashes, outstanding special teamer. He had moments, right? But it never really felt like he truly settled in and found his niche,
exactly.
To your point.
Exactly.
405-651-3439 is the text line where you can chime in throughout the show. The show today brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. New year, new vehicle. If you're in the market for a new car, check out Dorsey Jones. GMC, of course, offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones complements that with their outstanding service, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Family-owned and operated establishment out there. Dorsey Jones, PT, and G-Baby approved. Head on out there to El Reno. 405-651-3439 is the text line. S. Rob Booman says, are any of the exciting whites or cracker backers. I almost said Cracker Barrel. Are any of the exciting whites or cracker backers that OU has taken from the portal gingers? No, they are not.
No.
Unfortunately, Jacob Curry is, as of this moment, the only Ginger Ninja in the linebacker room. But what if I told you there is another Ginger Ninja on campus today for an official visit with the Sooners? It's a name we've mentioned already. You might not know he is a Ginger Ninja. You might not have seen his photograph, but you've heard us talk about him. Luke Work, the transfer offensive lineman from Mississippi State. 2 years of eligibility left. Swing tackle, 6'6", 315 pounds. He has made starts for the Bulldogs at left tackle. He has made starts for the Bulldogs at right tackle. This would be a very valuable pickup for Oklahoma, and not one that should be ignored if it comes to fruition, because will he start in 2026? Maybe. Like, I'm not married to the idea of Amarian Harris being your starting right tackle in 2026, and I've expressed as much. But if Oklahoma's bookends aren't Michael Fasusi and Ryan Foje next season, if the decision does get made to just slide Foje inside to guard and tell him, this is what you are, you're going to be a dang good one, you might not be able to make as much money long-term in the NFL, but you're going to have more career longevity here than you would at tackle. I kind of think Luke Work is a guy that if it comes down to him and Amarian Harris to battle it out for the starting right tackle job at Oklahoma, I think Work could win that job. But even if he's not a starter, Grayson, this is somebody with P4 starting experience at both tackle spots. How many of those guys are you going to find?
Not a whole lot, and not a whole lot that can do the job in a satisfactory way if they're pressed into action. Basically what you're saying is this is going to be potentially Oklahoma's replacement for Logan Howland, because that was the value of him, is that he could play at either tackle in the event of an injury. So losing Howland, I think, was bigger than a lot of people, I think, really let on. But if you can replace that guy with a guy like Luke Work, that would be cool. By the way, that would make 2 gingers on the offensive line.
Yes, indeed. Him and Heath Ozida.
Exactly.
And then between them and, I guess Ben Anderson isn't a ginger. He's blonde. I think those would be, between them and Jacob Curry, those would be 3 scholarship gingers out of the 105.
Do you think they start to go more intently after a safety, after the Jaden Hardy news?
Yes, absolutely. To me, there are 3 clear needs for Oklahoma moving forward. They would like to add another receiver. I think they will add another receiver. I like where they stand with Davion Dozier, the transfer from Appalachian State, who's going to visit. But the 3 clear needs to me are you need additional offensive line depth,
Yep.
which they're pursuing, not only with Luke Work but other targets as well. You need offensive line depth. You need another defensive tackle because USC bagged Alex Van Sumeren.
Is that the story there?
I mean,
USC
it's really not hard to put 2 and 2 together there. He was on campus at Oklahoma over the weekend, as I mentioned during my show with Steely. He told OU he was coming. He was shopping around for apartments. Like, that was done.
Oh, really?
It was done. And then here comes USC. And boom, it's over on Tuesday afternoon in the Trojans' favor. You don't really have to do a whole lot of speculating as to what happened there. It's pretty abundantly clear what happened. So you need a defensive tackle. At least. I wouldn't be opposed to taking 2. And then you need a safety at this point with the loss of Jaden Hardy. Because Peyton Bowen and Michael Boganowski, those are your starters. Absolutely. Going into 2026, those are your guys at safety. Don't have to question that. Reggie Powers is likely going to start at Cheetah, but he will be able to come back and play the strong as well. You have Amarian Robinson in the mix. You have a couple of true freshmen in Markel Ford and Nico Jandro. We'll see how ready they are. I'm not closed off to the notion that Ford could be a year 1 contributor, but you need another experienced dude in that room. And now, there was a listener on the text line that asked, how many of these guys, how many of the 20, I think the number's 25 right now, actually, 25 scholarship guys that have entered the portal and left Oklahoma, how many of those guys have been quote-unquote processed versus how many would the staff have liked to have seen stick around? And I will tell you this, not all of these guys were outright processed, but I truly have gotten the sense that there is only one player that the staff was legitimately upset to see walk. You want to take a guess?
Was it Kobe McKenzie?
It was not Kobe McKenzie. Marcus Strong.
Okay.
They would very much have liked to keep Marcus Strong around.
He was going to be my second guess, and Hardy was going to be my third.
Mm-hmm. Now, all those other guys, and you got some good football players in there that have made the decision to leave. Giovanni Gibson. You mentioned Kobe. Samuel Masigo, certainly. Jaden Hardy, certainly. Got some good football players in that group, but no one that the powers that be within the Switzer Center consider to be irreplaceable. And so I would say 24 of the 25, if they weren't outright processed, there was a healthy sense of indifference in that building as to whether they were going to walk or not. The one guy that they were upset to lose was Marcus Strong.
And deservedly so.
Especially when you consider that coming out of high school, Marcus Strong had one big offer, and it was Oklahoma. Oklahoma was the P4 school that took a shot on him. They were the blue blood that took a shot on Marcus Strong. Outside of OU, his best offers were like West Virginia, Georgia Tech, which Georgia Tech doesn't look as mid on the offer sheet now as it did back then. But we're talking about Georgia Tech back in 2022. So Oklahoma stood alone on Marcus Strong's offer sheet as the school. And so it wasn't a huge shock when he made the decision to commit to Oklahoma over the list of other suitors that he had, because Oklahoma just outweighed all the others in terms of tradition and prestige and development. But not only did Oklahoma take that chance on Marcus Strong, but they developed him, man, and they saw that experiment through when it would have been really easy to cut ties with him after 1 year, when he redshirted and did nothing, or after 2 years, when he played very minimally. I think he had a sack against Temple, and that was pretty much it. But they were committed to the vision with Marcus Strong. They got 3 years out of him, and in year 3, you saw flashes. The guy that Oklahoma expected was going to be a crucial cog in that defensive tackle rotation next season with Grayson Halton and Dominic Williams moving on.
You know what that sounds like? It sounds like an NFL rookie, on that 4-year rookie contract where they don't pick up the 5th-year option and you don't really do anything for those first 2-3 years. The deadline for the option passes by, and then that contract year, he explodes or shows something and gets money elsewhere. To me, that's kind of what that's kind of like. And from the Oklahoma side, I get it. It's like, we stuck this out with you. We went down the long road with you. I get it, but, you can't bat 1,000. You can't bat 1,000 retaining everybody. If you look at the entire picture, Oklahoma's done a damn good job of keeping the guys that they want. None of the other guys that they wanted really left.
Yeah, if your biggest undesirable casualty, if your only undesirable casualty is Marcus Strong, you're doing pretty dang good.
Because there's a lot of other schools that cannot say the same.
A lot of them. OU Landrush on the text line asked, any chance Strong returns? I would not count on it, OU Landrush. If somehow that did happen, make no mistake, they would be popping bottles of champagne in the Switzer Center, and Jim Nagy would be on a parade float down Lindsay Street.
Off-Script Sports on our YouTube chat, which, by the way, we are on YouTube. Search KREF Sports in YouTube and we'll pop up. Good riddance on that defensive tackle, talking about Van Sumeren. I don't want anyone who wants money after the Jaden Knott experience.
There are going to be a lot of folks that think along those lines as well. And for a guy like Van Sumeren, you have to wonder, how high is the ceiling for a guy like that? Is he an NFL football player in the long term? Is he going to be able to make a ton of money at the next level? For a guy that has 1 year of eligibility left, if I'm putting myself in his shoes, I can certainly understand why you would take the bag. Not gonna obviously go over very well with the fan base of the school that it looked like you were going to land with before the bag came into play.
Right.
But you understand it. You certainly understand it. 405-651-3439 is the text line. Hit us up. We got to hit an opening timeout here. Hear from our fine sponsors that make it all possible. We'll be back on the other side. This is The Ref, the home of Sooner fans, and you are listening to Locked In.
Locked In is brought to you every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. Dorsey Jones GMC is family-owned and operated with a knowledgeable, low-pressure sales staff here to help you through the buying process and half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Visit dorsey-jonesgmc.com for more information.
Have you or someone you know suffered a loss to your home or business from the recent storms? Before you accept a settlement, call Brown O'Haver at 405-735-5510. Brown O'Haver is a local-based company helping Oklahomans with claims since 1988 with preparation and expert analysis detailing your loss and insurance settlement. As your trusted consultant, Brown O'Haver can give you peace of mind and make sure you're getting what's yours. Call Brown O'Haver today, 405-735-5510, and make sure they're working for you.
Good times are calling your way at the Showplace Theater with acts like Eli Young Band, February 6th. Matt Matthews, February 14th.
I was pretending to smoke a cigarette with a Cheeto, and I would share it with my friends.
Dylan Gossett, February 20th. And Christopher Cross, February 28th. Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
Hey sports fans, you cheer on your kids on the field, now give them a chance to shine on stage. At the studio of the Sooner Theater, our school year performing art classes are open for ages 3 to adult. From musical theater to acting, jazz, tap, ballet, and hip hop, and full-scale productions where your star can perform in the spotlight. Don't sit on the sidelines. Enroll now. Visit SoonerTheater.org or call 405-321-9600. The Sooner Theater, where every season is game day for the arts. Are you, your family, or company looking for a locally owned and trusted management group? Carlsbad Management Group is an owner, developer, and manager of high-quality apartment communities in Oklahoma. They are a locally owned and operated management company for apartments and self-storage units. They are committed to providing exceptional apartment homes, customer service, and increasing the value of multi-family communities under our management. If you would like a free management quote today, call Carlsbad Management at 405-701-1411 and be part of the Carlsbad family. Come on down to River Bottom Nursery at one of their 2 locations in OKC. Now under new ownership, River Bottom serves both the commercial industry as well as the gardener and homeowner at both their plant and tree nursery locations. River Bottom Nursery has everything you need to make your yard paradise. Call them today, 405-735-3636, or swing by one of their 2 locations. RiverbottomNursery.com, Oklahoma City's premier tree and plant nursery.
Stand Up to Cancer asked leading cancer researchers to speak about why they do their work.
2 words come to mind for me. One is responsibility, the other is purpose.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please, help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Quick aside on matters of the portal. Parker Thune, Grayson Singleton with you here on Locked In. The biggest story nationally right now in college football is this hoopla surrounding Damon Williams.
Which is a wild situation.
It is, but I will tell you how this is going to get resolved. It's really not hard to foresee how it's going to get resolved. For those that aren't familiar with the story, Damon Williams signed a new NIL rev share contract with Washington within the last week, only to announce last night, while the entire rest of the team was at a memorial service for a recently deceased Washington women's soccer player, that he was going to be entering the transfer portal with a do not contact tag, which we know what a do not contact tag means in this day and age. It means Tamper City. Somebody was working the back channels. The thought is that was LSU, which would make a lot of sense. Because for Lane Kiffin, if you're looking for a guy that kind of fits the Trinidad Chambliss mold, Damon Williams is very much cut from that same cloth. But Washington has been very public with the reality that, and they've communicated this through the reporting of some prominent national personalities like Pete Thamel and Ross Dellinger, et cetera. Like, they've been very staunch about the fact that we are enforcing this contract. We are not releasing you to the transfer portal. We are not entering your name into the transfer portal because the institution has to do that. The player doesn't put himself in the transfer portal. The school has to do that. The school has to release him to the portal per NCAA regulations. And Washington has basically said, we're not doing that. However, if I can take you back almost a year exactly.
Xavier Lucas.
To Xavier Lucas and Miami, What was Xavier Lucas's challenge? You recall how that all went down?
Yeah, he just unenrolled and then enrolled.
Exactly. He basically said,
the transfer portal doesn't exist.
The transfer portal doesn't exist. I don't have to use the transfer portal. I can just enroll in Miami and start playing football. And there's nothing you can do to stop me. So that's what's going to happen with DeMond Williams.
Yes.
There's really no way that Washington is going to be able to make that contract stand up to any sort of legal challenge. And there's no way that they're going to, even if they withhold his name from the transfer portal, there's no way they're going to be able to prevent him from going to LSU or wherever it is that he may be headed. Again, the thought right now, the prevailing thought, is that it's LSU. But this is the world that we're living in, Grayson, where transfer portal, that phrase, that buzzword, is one of the most prominent phrases and buzzwords in all of college football. We all know what the transfer portal is. We all understand the significance of the transfer portal as it pertains to retention and roster construction and talent acquisition. And yet there are scenarios like this where we are reminded the transfer portal technically doesn't actually exist. And it is not the means by which player movement is regulated.
No. Man, this whole thing is just messy. I mean, it's just messy, bro.
And I said this last week, when you can truthfully say the words, only the government can fix this now, you are up a creek.
Well, look.
You are in trouble.
Look, I was going to hold off on that, but now that we have what is supposed to be legally binding contracts, basically meaning nothing, we're at the point where only the government can fix this.
What a time.
Just messy. And also, why is it Lane Kiffin who always finds himself in the messiness?
Yeah, Chris from Knoxville on the text line said, Kiffin not having someone hate him, challenge impossible.
Did you see he was at the Pelicans-Lakers game last night with Sam Levitt and another
I know, and that's the crazy part.
Recruit.
Like, all this smoke is out there about DeMond Williams at LSU while Lane Kiffin is hosting Sam Levitt.
Uh-huh.
Who apparently is due at Tennessee next.
Yes.
In other news, Cam Coleman is out in West Texas today.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be hilarious to me if the Red Raiders were the landing spot for Campbell. If after this whole soap opera about Oklahoma at one point, but then more prominently Texas and Texas A&M, if Cody Campbell just stepped in and did Cody Campbell things to secure Cam Coleman's services on behalf of the Red Raiders, that would be oh so fitting. And man, Texas is starting to get to the point, Grayson, where they're going to be in a bind here before long if some dominoes don't start falling in their favor. Because here's the reality of it. The transfer portal window this year is 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Week 1 is where you check the boxes on all of the things that you had lined up before the portal window opened. Because every school, at least if they're doing their jobs, every front office, every personnel staff, if they're doing their jobs, they had things lined up with certain players before the portal opened. So that's what week 1 is about. Week 2 is desperation week. Week 2 is where you have to start paying a premium for solutions.
Yep.
Because you are running out of options and running out of time.
And players know when you're desperate. And they will drive that asking price up. Or if it's not the players, it's their representation that will drive that up because they know. No, Texas has a problem because right now Texas might have, and there's no might, Texas has a top 3 returning quarterback in the country. They got a couple good receivers, a couple good running backs, and not a whole lot else right now. They're in a dicey situation.
Cup of Dirt on the text line said, this is all so exhausting for the average fan. The whole thing is becoming a turnoff. Yes and no, Cup of Dirt, because obviously as it pertains to player movement and just the recognizability of your team's roster year over year, there are, I would say the majority of college football fans have become really annoyed and perturbed with the state of the sport. But you still watch it.
I was just about to go there.
It's like what Pete Weber said, the great Pete Weber, when he retired. Love me or hate me, you watched. The same could be attributed to college football. Love it or hate it, you watch it.
You're still going to watch.
And you will continue to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it kind of suck that the game has shifted so drastically in the last 5 years such that you can't really count on having program cornerstones on campus for 4 or 5 years at a time? Yeah, I mean, these days, there are a lot more Giovanni Gibsons, i.e. one-year stopovers, than there are Danny Stutzmans, i.e. guys who spend 4 years at one institution and cement their legacy at that school and that school alone. And that's a tough thing for many folks to swallow and reconcile with. But you're still watching games every Saturday in the fall, and that will continue to be the case.
Because ultimately, once your butt's in a seat, whether that seat is in the stadium or in your or on your couch in the living room, you don't care how the players got there. You don't care how much money they're making, I guess, unless they're Jaden Knott. But you're just going to watch some football, and that's ultimately what it's always going to be.
Back to Texas for a second. Devin from Indiana says, Texas whining about people spending money. Whiny crybaby pot calling kettle black. The cope surrounding the Parker Livingston deal
is quite interesting.
I can't make sense of it. None of it makes any sense. Which is, I think, what makes it so comical, is that none of it makes sense. I've heard everything from the Texas beat and the Texas fan base, from OU bagged Parker Livingston and paid him an absurd amount of money, to the compensation package that Parker Livingston is getting at Oklahoma is comparable to what he would have gotten at Texas. Which is it? It's hilarious that the one factor, the one possibility, the one thing in this whole saga that no one on the Texas side seems willing to even consider is the possibility that Texas just kind of screwed things up with Parker Livingston.
Yeah, and it's also very funny, and I deal in this way with multiple fan bases. If your opinion of a player switches because their uniform switches, is that a referendum on the player or is it a referendum on something else? I don't think it's the player.
Some news on the text line courtesy of Dave from Mizzou. Former Oklahoma tight end Caden Helms has committed to Minnesota. Good for Caden. Good for Caden. He's got 2 years of eligibility left to use there. He's going to be all right, man. He'll get the chance to play up there. He'll get the chance to produce up there. Good for him. Now, we had several transfer commitments from outbound Sooners yesterday. Jacob Sexton stayed in-house, or I should say in-state. He is signed with Grayson's alma mater, the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Javante Barnes landed at Kentucky for his final year of eligibility. This was a few days back, but I don't know that we ever made mention of it. Jaden Gibson is going to play at South Carolina in 2026, and frankly, that's a lot better than I thought Jaden Gibson would be able to do in the portal after 2 years out of football.
100% agree.
So, good for him, man. The Sooners will see him in 2026. South Carolina is on the schedule. So, good for Jay Gibb. Hope he gets the opportunity to turn it around after all that he's been through physically. S. Rob Booman said, OU's fans should give Parker Livingston a standing ovation when his name is announced at the Cotton Bowl. Yeah, no doubt. He's going to be very popular among OU fans simply because he pulled a heel turn on the Longhorns. Simply because he's a former Longhorn that came across the Red River. He will always be, provided he produces, he will always be a special guy to the Oklahoma fan base.
Well, yeah,
because they can appreciate a guy who came over to the good side, if you will.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm going to assume, because I wasn't here yet, but I'm going to assume the same reaction was similar when Trace Ford came down from Stillwater. Obviously, Oklahoma fans care more about the rivalry with Texas than Oklahoma State. I get it. But, you know, that's another type of situation. Have there ever been significant players that have moved from either side of the Red River rivalry to the other?
In the portal era, the only player that's transferred from one Red River combatant to the other is Brennan Thompson.
Right.
Casey Thompson, of course, started out at Texas, finished at Oklahoma, but had the detours to Florida Atlantic and Nebraska in between. But this is the highest profile OU to Texas or Texas to OU transfer of all time. The highest profile intra Red River rivalry transfer that has ever been. And I also just, I get it, fans act this way, but to see everybody on the Texas side going, screw that guy forever now that he's a Sooner. Of all the places he could have gone, when the University of Texas takes a transactional approach to their relationship with Parker Livingstone and prompts him to test the waters in the transfer portal, how can you be mad when he takes a transactional approach to his portal recruitment and makes the decision that he feels is best for him as a football player?
And I will say, vendettas are a big thing. That is not something to be ignored.
That's a kid that's going to be very, very motivated to ball out at Oklahoma, especially on the second weekend of October. And it has me excited. It has me excited to see what Parker Livingstone is going to do in the Crimson and Cream. The listener said, can you imagine if he drops a game winner in Dallas? There will be conspiracy theories, pitchforks, torches, and mops. Let's hope that never happens. 405-651-3439 is the text line if you want to make your voice heard here on the show. Whether you're tuning in via the KREF app on your terrestrial radio signal or via YouTube on the KREF Sports YouTube channel, thanks for making us a part of your Wednesday. One final segment to come here on Locked In. This is the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Do you eat, sleep, and breathe Sooner football? We do too. This is the Ref, home of Sooner fans.
Entrepreneurs and More Norman in South Oklahoma City have an experienced business partner in their neighborhood. More Norman Technology Center's workforce and economic development team understands the challenges entrepreneurs and small businesses face every day. From building an effective business model to hiring the right employees and managing cash flow, More Norman's business development experts can help you move forward confidently and thrive, knowing that you have a skilled partner at your side. Learn more about More Norman's Technology Center by calling 405-801-5000 or visit us online at mntc.edu.
Looking to buy or rent equipment for your next big job? Warren Cat is excited to announce the opening of their new store in Norman. From industry-leading Cat machines to reliable lift and power solutions, our team is here to keep your business moving forward. As a proud partner of OU Athletics, we're committed to supporting the strength, grit, and excellence that drive our community. Visit our new store off of I-35 in Norman or visit one of many locations across Oklahoma or search Warren Cat online. Whatever the job, whatever it takes.
I'm Gina Mitchell of Mitchell's Jewelry. As Oklahoma's largest diamond importer, it's our goal to choose the best and the biggest diamond for your budget. That's why we hand select our diamonds in the diamond rooms of Antwerp. If you are getting engaged, we can create the ring of her dreams. Celebrating an anniversary or birthday, we have diamonds in all shapes and sizes for rings or necklaces, plus perfectly matched pairs for earrings. Come see us today and let us create something special. Mitchell's Jewelry, 2201 West Main in Norman.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
No one plans for an injury, but when the worst happens, count on the best orthopedic team to turn your setbacks into comebacks. Ortho Central's comprehensive care has you covered, from expert orthopedic surgery and sports medicine to in-house imaging, physical therapy, and even a bone health clinic. So whether it's a fracture, a tear, or just life catching up with you, we're here to get you moving again. Ortho Central, it's in our bones to take care of yours. Learn more at orthocentralok.com.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First, drown it with a bucket of water. Then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips. Because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Open enrollment for healthcare coverage has been extended. If you missed the initial 12/15 deadline, you can still purchase coverage up until January 15th. Call Allison Insurance. With over 70 years in the industry, Allison Insurance can help spot problems and avoid common mistakes when purchasing health insurance for individual, employer, group, and Medicare. Visit AllisonInsurance.com, then call Robert at 800-580-5587 or 745-2968. Allison Insurance. They are the experts.
With the news earlier today that Zion Reagans is entering the transfer portal, that officially closes the book on Oklahoma's 2024 signing class at the wide receiver position. All four of their 2024 signees at that position are in the portal and headed elsewhere. Zion Kearney, Zion Reagans, Ivan Carrion, and KJ Daniels. And it's a reality that we had talked about even before the 2025 season began, Grayson, but it bears repeating on a day like today, especially on the offensive side of the ball. It has been quite the revolving door for the Sooners. They've primarily relied on transfers, both in the trenches and at the skill positions. And there are precious few guys on scholarship that play on the offensive side of the ball for Oklahoma that are true program veterans. In fact, what if I told you there were only 2 scholarship players on the offensive side of the ball that had been at Oklahoma longer than 2 seasons? Do you think you could name them?
2 that have been there longer than 2 years. All right, are we including 2025 as one of those years?
We are including 2025.
Okay.
Yes.
EPL.
No. He has only been here 2 years.
Oh, longer than 2
years.
Longer than 2 years. Oh, my bad. Ooh. Heath Ozida?
Heath Ozida's one.
Is the other Gabe Sawchuk?
It is not.
Okay.
Cade McIntyre.
I forgot he was still here.
That's it. When you rewind and you go back to the 2023 roster at Oklahoma, that 2023 roster today has just 2 scholarship holdovers on the offensive side of the ball. It's Ozida, it's McIntyre, end of list. There are 6 of those guys on the defensive side of the ball. So it's not a whole heck of a lot better, but it is better. Sign of the times, man. You're going to see very, very few players in the years ahead stay at one school for 4 years unless we get some sort of radical change of structure in this sport.
Do you think that, as it pertains to the wide receiver room, it's a case of supply and demand? Because if you have a need at wide receiver, there are however many wide receivers out there that can play. Like, the United States of America has no shortage of wide receivers. They have no shortage of big, fast dudes that can catch the football. So I don't even think this is going to be an Oklahoma problem uniquely. I think this is going to be a problem of, if you're a school and you see that your wide receivers are not progressing and or producing how you would want, that's an easy position to turn over.
It is.
Very, very quickly, especially if you have the requisite dollars to do so.
Yes, indeed. Recruiting Broomer on the text line says, "Yep, I've been blocked. Wow, I've been a long-time listener. Deleting the app. Deuces." No, Recruiting Boomer, don't go. Please stick around. I don't know the whole. What's the Gene Wilder spiel from Willy Wonka? No, this is the worst. No. I'm kidding, recruiting boomer. I know you are too. We enjoy having you, even if we don't get to read every single one of your texts. John and Blanchard wanted to know, Parker, can we go get Cole Adams now? I just don't know where Cole Adams fits.
Mm-mm.
He's been primarily return man during his time at Alabama. I think he has like 13 catches in 3 seasons there. And he'd be a slot guy at Oklahoma. And the Sooners have one slot guy that's really freaking dangerous in Isaiah Satania. And they got another one that's still hanging around. And when he's on the field, man, he makes plays, and that's Jacob Jordan. And you got a guy coming in Jasir Rogers, too, that he's not a pure slot, but you can line him up there, and he's going to be able to make stuff shake. So I think all the churn that you're seeing in the wide receiver room, more than anything, is just an indication of confidence in what Oklahoma has coming in. Because you might not part ways. Or I guess you shouldn't. I shouldn't phrase it that way. You might make more of an effort to retain a guy like a Zion Kearney or an Ivan Carrion if you're unsure about a Jaden Petit or a Jasir Rogers or a Daniel Odom coming in and being ready to add value right off the bat and potentially play snaps right off the bat. This is how the receiver room stacks up next year, as I see it. I think your starters are Isaiah Satania, Parker Livingston, Trell Harris. I think your primary reserves are Jermichael Carter, Manny Choice, Elijah Thomas, Jacob Jordan somewhere in there, assuming he's still around as well. You got 7 guys. 7 guys that you know can play. I mean, I guess we haven't seen it yet with Choice or Thomas, but the coaching staff has a lot of faith in those guys. And I think you could tell by their special teams usage in 2025. That may seem insignificant to some, but it is a common theme throughout the Brent Venables era that when the staff has a freshman that they have high expectations for and think they just need an off-season of growth ahead to really vault to new heights as a player, they deploy him on special teams as a true freshman. They don't redshirt him. They get him on the field. They get him up to speed, and that's what you saw this past season with Choice and Thomas. So I think both of those guys are going to play a role for Oklahoma next year. You got 7 wideouts that are experienced to varying extents, but that you can pretty well figure are going to be in the mix. And then you have 4 exciting true freshmen that all are going to be given the opportunity to crack the rotation. And I do think, as I mentioned earlier, that Oklahoma is going to take one more in the portal.
A texter from the 405 says, in my opinion, Emmett Jones should be on a very hot seat.
Okay. It's fine. You can have that opinion.
Yeah.
And if you want to hold his feet to the fire for how things turned out with that 2024 recruiting class, again, that's fine. Not going to try to talk you off that ledge. But here's what I will say, man. The guy that Emmett Jones really, really wanted in the 2024 cycle was Parker Livingston. He didn't get to go after him because Jeff Lebby didn't like him. Jeff Lebby preferred guys like KJ Daniels and Zion Reagans, who are very nicely tailored to the Jeff Lebby scheme, much in the same way that Brennan Thompson was.
Yep.
Once Jeff Lebby left Oklahoma, Brennan Thompson was kind of just listing. And then he goes to Mississippi State to reunite with Lebby in 2025 and sets a school record for receiving yards. There were no Oklahoma fans that were particularly bummed to see Brennan Thompson leave a year ago, at least not in the sense that you feel like, oh, we'll never be able to replace that guy. But then he goes to Mississippi State, and he becomes the most productive wide receiver in a single season in the history of that program. So fit matters. KJ Daniels, Zion Reagans, those guys don't really fit in a Ben Arbuckle offense. So here's my litmus test moving forward with Emmett Jones. I want to see to what extent Parker Livingston produces in 2026, because Emmett Jones finally gets the chance to get his hands on the guy that he wanted all along in that 2024 cycle. I've been a very ardent defender of Emmett Jones. I will be willing to lay off the throttle in that regard if things crash and burn with Parker Livingston, or he fails to live up to expectations, or he's just kind of a modest contributor and nothing more for Oklahoma. But I have very high expectations for him. I have very high expectations for Emmett Jones when it comes to developing him and getting him ready to make the type of impact I think he's capable of making in the Oklahoma offense.
And also, he's got probably the best ingredients he's had in his entire tenure, given that they stay healthy. And I know the 2024 wide receiver room looks really good on paper. We never got to see it. So, as long as they stay healthy, I think this would be a good referendum onto what Emmett Jones is as a coach. Because with Trell Harris, an all-ACC receiver, Parker Livingstone, we know what he can do. Satania was all SEC. And then obviously you've got true freshmen, or I guess they're going to be rising sophomores that you're really excited about. You'll be able to judge Emmett Jones. I think I might do a segment on this tomorrow, but I think coming out of this portal cycle, Parker, there are a couple of people on this Oklahoma staff that may have run out of excuses. I think Emmett Jones would be on that list.
That's perfectly fair. You want to say the excuses are gone for Emmett Jones? Okay, I'd agree. I said yesterday the excuses are gone for John Mateer in 2026.
He's the top of that list.
At this point, it's, man, show me what you're made of. Show me what you can do. You got the supporting cast to do all that you're capable of doing. Now it's on you to make it actually happen.
Yeah.
Drew from Flower Mound says, why didn't we see more of Kearney? Oklahoma had guys that they trusted more at wide receiver. I think that's what it comes down to. They had guys that they trusted more. Those coaches see those guys on the practice field every single day. I liked Kearney. There were a lot of people that liked Kearney. From what we saw of him, he had a strong fall camp. When the season rolled around, it was pretty clear that the guys Oklahoma trusted infinitely more than the rest were Isaiah Satania, Keontae Lewis, Deion Burks. And those were their horses when they were healthy.
Two-star Puerto Rican Sooner says, Grayson, are you excited to watch your even northern North Texas State Cowboys next year? Honestly, I think they're going to be pretty good. I'm excited, and I think they will be pretty good.
By the way, I mentioned Davion Dozier earlier as a wide receiver, name to watch for Oklahoma. Going to visit, feel pretty good about where the Sooners stand with him. There's another Appalachian State transfer that the Sooners are scheduled to host tomorrow. Donnell Nix. Get to know that name. Donnell Nix. Freshman offensive tackle. 3 years of eligibility left. Played for the Mountaineers this past season as a true freshman. He just visited Oklahoma State. He will visit OU next. More tackle depth. I can dig it.
You need it.
Biggest need right now remaining for Oklahoma. Yes, they need a defensive tackle. Yes, they need a safety. Yes, they could do with another receiver, but got to have more reinforcements in the offensive trenches. Blue Whale Sooner says the excuses need to be gone for the head coach above everyone else. He has not proven to be a positive influence on the offensive side of the ball at all. Okay, he's a defensive-minded coach, Blue Whale Sooner.
I see where he's going, though.
I understand where you're coming from, but if there's one individual I have no beef with as far as what happened on the field for Oklahoma in 2025, it's Brent Venables. Because he called his own number, he called his own defensive plays, and that's ultimately, I think, what saved not only his job, but everybody's job.
I think this is where, God, y'all are broaching a lot of the topics that I had planned for tomorrow. Anyway, I think this is where Jim Nagy comes in, because you want Brent Venables to have as much of his attention on the defense. That is where you want almost his exclusive attention. Jim Nagy, you come in, evaluate offense, and get him something on the other side of the ball. Don't have Brent Venables in here trying to construct the offense or police or babysit the offense. Let him do the defense. Let him do the defense nearly exclusively with his time. Jim Nagy and Ben Arbuckle, you guys are responsible for the offense. And obviously Nagy's responsible for roster construction as a whole, but in terms of who you really want evaluating offense, take that off of this head coach's plate.
Final nugget, the pipe dream for so many Oklahoma fans has been for the Sooners to get Coy Parrots in the transfer portal, the exceedingly talented safety from Minnesota, who's going to cost $1.50 bag. Here's where he's visiting. Texas Tech and Oregon. So that was never happening anyway, but even if Oklahoma had expressed a desire to get involved there, they would not have been able to sit at the same table as Texas Tech and Oregon, who are the two programs that arguably have more money than any other in college football. All right, folks, that is all for Locked In here on a Wednesday. Travis Davidson and Tyler McComas have you for the next 3 hours on the other side. On The Rush, for Grayson Singleton, I am Parker Thune. This has been Locked In.